So next will be Professor Anas Bentamy. I hope it's pronounced correctly.
Yes, yes, perfectly.
Yeah, welcome. And yeah, from what I can see from my notes here, you have quite some experience in your research area. It's on research, conception, and design of horizontal axis wind turbines. And yeah, we have a presentation from you on the renewable energy small wind power in Morocco. So yeah, looking forward to hear it.
Okay, just want to make sure that I can. I have to share screen, right?
Yes.
And I have to look to the presentation. It's there. Okay, share. Okay, is it okay, everyone?
Yeah. If you press F5, then we can see it in bigger as well.
I pressed.
It's still in the normal mode.
Okay, you see this one, right?
Yes, perfect.
Is it perfect?
Yeah. Floor is yours.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for the invitation. I'm an associate professor at University Akhawayn in Ifrane, Morocco, and with few colleagues, we are extremely motivated to develop skills and knowledge in small wind turbine technology. We are actually ending a project which took too much time about the concept and design of small wind turbine, 11 kilowatts. We had by the past one student following continuous education. He was working in the National Agency of Electricity, providers of electricity in Morocco, who did at the business school a study about small wind power as a renewable energy source in Morocco. So allow me to report where I was a co-supervisor with a colleague from the School of Business, and he did a good work when we were able to publish in the Journal of Physics, European Journal of Physics. This work has been already presented at Talk 2020. So main objective of this work was, first of all, to look at what are the main barriers for the deployment of small wind turbine in Morocco, considered as a developing country. And at the same time, we had finished the design of a small wind turbine, and after collecting data with this process, we were able to measure what is missing in order to be able to manufacture small wind turbine in Morocco from this simple example. All right, so I already said the two main objectives: identify the cause behind the low penetration of small wind power in Morocco, and through the design of horizontal axis wind turbine, what are the main obstacles that we need to overcome if we want to have, if we want to be able to manufacture small wind turbine. So just Morocco is among the country who put a lot of effort in order to reduce emission of dioxide carbon or the greenhouse, and takes some really big steps by replacing its electricity production from renewable. To do that, renewable energy sector has to be developed, and to do that, you have many organizations have been created that are in charge of this. So they are enumerated here: Moroccan Ministry of Energy and Mine, ONI, AMI, Mazen, SIE, and IRISEN, a few examples. I think they're the main. All right, so limited exploitation of small wind turbine is not unique to Morocco, but it's common to developing countries. So we were looking at, through some review of literature, what are the main barriers that can prevent or stop deployment of wind turbine technology locally. So they are summarized here. You have information, awareness and information barriers. So little information available about small wind power to energy decision makers and potential developer of small wind turbine in developing country. Technical and technological barrier, lack of complete and reliable data set characterizing the wind resource available. Sometimes if you want to install a small wind turbine into isolated region, you don't have the data of the wind, and it costs if you want to build reliable data of the wind in order to build the small wind turbine with the right size or the right capacity. You have also market economic and financial barriers. To build a small wind turbine, it's a high initial investment cost, and sometimes installation also it costs a lot. So it can be a serious barrier to development of small wind turbine. So if we look to the governmental subsidies, sometimes you can find that there are more subsidies to conventional energy, and it's a little bit contradictory with what the state wants to do in renewable energy sector. Okay, and you have the last one, which is institutional policy and regulatory barrier. So you have a multiplicity of governmental agency, organization intervening in the renewable energy sector, resulting in duplication, overlapping, coordination problem in the implementation of small wind power projects. So if we then look to the case of Morocco, we conducted a survey. So we selected 12 respondents, experts in major renewable energy institution. So why we choose them? Because through their experience or expertise, we were able to grasp data or collect data related to small wind turbine technology. So even though you may say that statistically the number of respondents is low, but we can build a reliable information if we follow Lily and Omroad. Number of informants should be comprised between 5 and 25. So the result, not all barriers were found to be equally important in explaining the low diffusion of small wind power system in Morocco. So the most relevant one was regulatory barrier, technical barrier, and financial and market barrier. And if we look at the technical aspect for a small wind turbine, we worked on the design of a small wind turbine, 11 kilowatts, which would be the most in demand for many applications in Morocco. And we found that, for example, the technical barrier toward local implementation, it has been really easy to manufacture, not easy, but we were able to manufacture components as the rotor, the main shaft, nacelle cover, main frame, tower foundation, the blades. We perform all the study. We know the composite material, how to use it. We were able to have the right property for the blade, etc. But the problem is the cost with the other components that are not manufactured locally, which remain very high. So most of it is, for example, the electric generator. We were not able to find locally electric generator provider, the control and safety system. So we have imported equipment from abroad. So this leads to the conclusion that if we strongly desire to be able to produce at least small wind turbine locally, the results show that for the moment, the industrial integration, meaning the number of components that can be manufactured, designed locally, if we do the reasoning in terms of cost, represent less than 30%, which is something here we need to work on it to find out how can we improve this industrial integration. This is represented here by the graph. And through this, if we combine all the results, so the constraint of designing final products at low cost, because there is a problem here also, it has to be at low cost. It can be fully satisfied if the local manufacture of all components are considered, and particularly locally. The most we will be able to manufacture locally, better chance we will have to produce more small wind turbine and having a small industry developed here. But the moment we are simply importing. So if we look to the repartition of the costs, you can see that the generator costs up broadly 7%, control system 20%. You see the blade 12%, but something probably most of the attendees are familiar with. And the 20% here is the tower. So I think if you look to the numbers here on the 2%, 5%, 1%, 2%, this is what we can achieve here. I think no shaft bearing, no, but foundation, and that's why in the final cost they do not represent a big number. So if we resume what we obtain, if we can pretend to have a kind of explanation of why small wind turbine power is not very developed in Morocco. So there are three barriers, or the most important one, the regulatory barriers, technical barriers, financial and market barriers. So, and if we want to be able to overcome the technical barriers, most probably we should work on manufacturing processes of more components. That resume this work that has been done many years ago. So thank you for your attention. And if you have any question, then we'll be pleased to answer. Am I on time? Am I? Yes. Did you hear me? I hope so.
Yeah.
Hello.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you very much. Are there any questions? When we look at the areas in Morocco, let's say the more remote areas, are there challenges in getting electricity there? How is the distribution of the population, let's say, in terms of installations of small wind turbines?
Oh, electrification of the rural zone. There is a program that has started in the beginning of the 90s, and I think now they are reached about 88%, 89% of rural zone are provided in electricity. Besides few example, so electricity is distributed. You will encounter a problem if you have isolated villages or very few. I said not villages, 1 or 2 or 3 houses in a very far from the network. So there probably they would need some source of energy, and if it's possible, renewable energy, it would be great.
And in that case, is it something that it's supported by the government in some way, or is it the privates having to take care, like in Slovenia?
Yes, there are many programs actually running in Morocco. If we look to the Ministry of Agriculture, they are strongly encouraging the solar pump system. You have combination of solar panels with a pump, and it helps in pumping water. And they give subsidies, and sometimes not negligible.
Yeah, so maybe it makes sense to look directly at the, for example, Ministry of Agriculture, so directly on the things the wind turbines could be used for, instead of just wind in general.
You have wind turbine, isolated villages. You have also on the shore, because we have more than more than 2,000 kilometers shore on the Atlantic shore. You have many very good site for wind at different for different power, and you have yes, the application of normally application of a small wind turbine power should find a lot of place in Morocco, and it can be used.
And what about the people's opinion? That is it something that it's asked for, or is it something that developers would need to work their way through not knowing a product, basically? Because that's we have the feeling in some countries it's either like if you have any knowledge on wind, that would be big wind. So opposition towards wind turbines, but referring to the ones of 80, 90 meters of height, and not being aware that there are even smaller units. So I don't know, is that a problem as well there, or is it something that is available, let's say, as knowledge?
You have some, I think, in the report of the World Wind Association, they found in Morocco in 2000, I think 16 or 18, that there were about 200 small wind turbines running in Morocco. The number is extremely low, and the question raised then, how can we increase this number? The problem is always the same, is the cost. You should find a way to reduce the cost considerably, because sometimes conventional energy are cheaper than renewable energy. So for people in some region, they will choose the lowest one, the one who costs lowest price.
Yeah, and of course you have also a lot of solar resources. So when you're putting small wind and PV in competition, often, wind is struggling a little bit because of the difference in costs.
Yes, of course, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other question from the audience? Doesn't look like. Is it Fritz? Do you want to ask a question?
Yes. On one of the slides,
yes,
when I saw it good, there was 103 kilowatt hours a day for a regular Moroccan household.
Which slide?
You might need to share the screen again, because
I think so.
Yes.
I think so. Okay. Where is it? Here. Okay, so here. Takes some time. Huh? Okay. Here.
No.
Before.
No. Another one. And the next one. Yeah, there on the top.
Here.
Yeah, on the first linear.
Yes.
The average daily consumption of a typical rural household in Morocco, 103 kilowatt hours.
Oh, there is a mistake. It's a typo. I don't think it's the right number. I can see it. I have a problem here. Wait.
It's more 10.3 or
10.3, not 103. There's a typo.
Okay. Yeah.
We conducted it. It has been. We have estimated the consumption with some normal appliance in a house, with and particularly we were looking at, for isolated region, if they have a pump that may need some power, not all day long, and we have this kind of estimation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I understand. Yeah.
Not 103. I'm sorry about that. Too much.
No problem.
Otherwise, a wind turbine would definitely be a good investment with that consumption.
Okay.
Good.
Yes.
So, are there any more questions? Let's see. I'll stop the sharing again so that I can see. But yeah, if you have questions, just come in. You don't need to wait for me to give you the floor.
Okay.
It doesn't look like. Okay, so well, thank you very much for your presentation.
Okay.
We will now have a break that will last 20 minutes roughly, 25 minutes. And then when we are back at 17:45 our time, then the next speaker will be Alice Orell from the US, from the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory. And she will talk about the distributed wind market report that they recently published. But yeah, we will see each other in 20 minutes from now. Have a good break.